This is the full VOD of the matchup between FlyQuest and Team Liquid. Let's dive into the picks and bans.
TL favorite, but FlyQuest upset, and we're actually quite dominant in the finals, and we are into the pick and bans here for game number 1, a quarterfinals slot on the line. This is what they've worked for all year long.
I see a one-trick ban on my screen.
Yep, I see a one-trick ban. I see a two one-trick bans. 2 of APA's one-tricks have been banned out in this game alongside the Kai'Sa. But on the other side, I'm a little bit concerned because the Ivern's been banned out, but so has the Renekton. And for Team Liquid, you guys already touched on this a little bit. Unfortunately, a weakness for this team so far at this tournament appears to be they do not have the mastery over the Yone and the Aurora to make them work. It feels like they're better off banning both these champs, but they can only ban one more.
Exactly, and they're going to have to do the trade here and take whatever FlyQuest leave to them. The scraps, so to speak.
I mean, it's so interesting, though, because, even if FlyQuest don't first round Yone, do TL even pick it? Like, I just don't know that we're going to see it unless APA has been cooking it up. And it's not that he can't play melee champions, because actually a lot of his history in solo queue is playing things like Kled, like Pantheon. He does play these aggressive melee picks, but he just really has never brought it out much in pro.
I think the assumption there might have been that it was going to be Yone and then they trade back Nocturne plus Aurora, but because FlyQuest go for the Skarner first, might throw a wrench in the plan here for Team Liquid. Let's see how they respond.
I wonder if there was a secret handshake backstage. No Aurora, no Yone. Play it like it's LCS.
No shot.
Nice, honorable.
Yeah. We agree that the OPs are not in the game at all, but so far they are not there. Skarner locked in first here for FlyQuest on the blue side. Over to Team Liquid. They're taking their full time thinking about this one. It will be the Xin Zhao. So junglers locked in first for both teams.
I mean, quite frankly, I don't think TL can pilot those champions well. Like, I just don't think that they can. So, I don't think they have the luxury of being able to actually grab some of those power picks, which is a big disadvantage for them here at Worlds. Whereas if you look on the other side, I do think Quad could probably play either of those champions very well. Aurora, I don't think is that much of a Bwipo champion. I saw him practicing it a little bit in Champions queue, to kind of mix success, and he was saying that he hadn't really put in a lot of time. It was a couple weeks ago, but still, it's not really his style of champion, I don't think.
And I will say that as much as it is a weakness, at least Team Liquid are recognizing that, and they're not going to try and play something they're not comfortable on anyway. Investing in some stuff here that they very much are comfortable on. Let's see about the response. The Skarner plus the Orianna here, setting up for their team fight. Meanwhile, Team Liquid, of course, with Xin being a strong duelist and Jax being good for split pushing for later.
I feel like Poppy could be a really strong pick here, potentially for Bwipo. When you're looking at Jax, you're looking at Xin. Already, it feels like it has a lot of value there. Impact, he can obviously pilot Jax. He does have a good win rate on the champion, but I just never really favor him on these style of champions because I think he's just so much stronger when he can sacrifice for the team. And when you sacrifice for the team on a champion like this, it often does not work out. APA is hovering Yone, and it would be interesting to see if he can bring it out, because if he can bring it out and actually be successful on it, then the story really does change for TL.
And I think when I'm looking at APA, it's not just can he be successful on Yone. I think that APA has been struggling so far at Worlds as a whole. I think that we've wanted to see a lot more out of him, especially considering his personal evolution as a player throughout the year. When we think of APA from 2023 compared to the version of him we've seen so far throughout this year in the LCS, he's made leaps and bounds of improvements. But Worlds, it's felt like a little bit of regression, but the Syndra locked in.
So the stars of the teams have been the bottom lanes, and FlyQuest now are going to get the opportunity to try and ban Yon out a little bit here. Wonder if we see some Jhin type of stuff go on, because getting your hands on the Ashe early is very, very powerful. You can go for some very strong laning options.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Ashe does kind of deny Kalista, which has been another power pick here at Worlds, because it is such a strong answer to it in lane. The Kai'Sa's been banned out. You obviously already touched on it. The bottom lanes have been the stars, and I think you have to give a lot of credit to both Yon and Masu.
Yeah.
I mean, Yon last year at Worlds had a very disappointing performance, even though TL have not yet hit the highs that they were expecting to this Worlds. Individually, he has been stellar. I think Masu has really been leveling up year over year. This guy's trajectory has been insane. If you're not familiar with his story, in 2022, he was in Amateur. 2023, he won MVP in NACL. 2024, he makes MSI, he makes Worlds, he wins LCS, he wins Rookie of the Year. It really cannot get more up and to the right than that.
All right, so in our second half of the draft, Renata Glass banned out by TL. They don't want to have that counter engage when you want Jax and Xin Zhao jumping into the enemy lines. They're also going to take out that pocket pick Urgot, keep that one away from Bwipo. But on the other side, Lucian and Rel banned away by FlyQuest. Rel being one of those premier supports for pretty much every team throughout the tournament. Let's see how TL wants to approach this fourth pick now.
Some of the advantages of knowing your opponent that well, you know, these target bans of the pocket picks, they know their tendencies, such a long history here.
It is interesting, right? Because Kai'Sa's gone, the Lucian Nami is gone, the Ashe kind of bans out the Kalista, so Yon is going to be pushed down and maybe relegated to more of a supportive role. So he's going to be going in towards that Jhin, which has been quite popular at Worlds. And I'm just curious to see, you know, what sort of style lane they want to play, because they have last pick here for Core. Are they going to really pick heavily for that 2v2, or is it going to be more of something to round out the comp? Because they are very light on hard engage right now. Sure, you can just send in the Xin, you can fish with, you know, scatters, but really they have no hard engage. So I do think they want to get something like that for Core to kind of round out their 5v5.
All right, here is a standard top lane, as about as standard as it could be. The K'Sante locked in for Bwipo into the Jax of Impact. So we've seen this matchup plenty of times before in North America. We'll see it again here in this first game in the best of 3. Still curious what we're going to get for this final pick here for Busil.
And we actually even got to see Impact playing the inverse side of it against Gam when he played against Kiaya. It was actually very impressive on the K'Sante side of the matchup. So
here we go. So Lulu
of Worlds.
It's not only is very good for, you know, enchanting later, but it's so hard to play Xin Zhao and even Jax to a degree here versus the polymorph. So very, very high investment in a lot of defensives here for FlyQuest.
It is, but at the same time, I think one of the kind of drawbacks to this is then you're now really relying on that Ashe Arrow as your kind of primary form of engage. So you know, if there's QSSs, if there's cleanses, things like this, or Core even going to the throwback pick of the Tahm Kench. So utilizing this to really deny the only form of hard engage that they do have. You can just gobble them up anytime an Ashe Arrow does connect, and it's going to be very difficult for FlyQuest to really start out these fights.
We'll see about Inspire's use of the Skarner and see if they can deliver some Orianna shockwaves as well, but this one's shaping up for a very sturdy team fight here for FlyQuest, and we do have to consider the possibilities of the lane swaps in this one as well. I mean, they do have a K'Sante as well as the double range down here.
Yeah, it could be very interesting. And for Core, if you don't know, Tahm Kench, one of his most played champions all time, 83 games, 65% win rate on it.
Pretty good.
He has a lot of history, you know, playing this champ, both with like fasting Senna and that sort of style, but also just as this style of traditional support. And he does like to play it very aggressively, often looking to actually W in and start out fights and look for these trades.
And the reason it's so famous is because after making plays on their own lane for the 2v2, Core JJ often goes in and invades your jungle. He is very, very good at harassing enemy jungle, making your life hell. So don't allow this Tahm Kench too much freedom. He likes to make plays.
I mean, that's something we've talked about Core JJ and Umpty the entire split, the entire summer in the LCS, is whenever Team Liquid got ahead and they were so good at this, they would just manage to take over the entirety of your jungle with those two guys sitting down vision, looking for plays, choking you out of the map. We'll see if FlyQuest is ready to respond to it.
So we just have a quick pause here. Shouldn't be too long, and we can get this one started. You know, regardless of whether or not, you know, these two teams wanted to be getting this draw, to be facing against each other, this is a situation they're in, and there is a lot of pressure on both of their shoulders. I don't think either team has accomplished yet what they wanted to here at Worlds. TL, obviously,
not even close.
So many expectations for this team. You know, their big goals coming in was really to prove their stuff against LPL, against LCK teams. In their first 2 games, they were very close in both of those series, but at the end of the day, they couldn't get the job done. And for FlyQuest, they showed, you know, those flashes of brilliance against HLE. You know, they were potentially one team fight away in game 1 from winning. Could have maybe made that into a 2-0, but they get blown out in game 3. It ends on a sour note. They are very hungry to get a shot at a best of 5 here against an LPL or an LCK team.
Talking to the players on both of these teams, they definitely wanted different draws. They wanted international opponents, but here we are once again in this very long rivalry between these two organizations.
Hopefully we'll be able to get into game here sooner rather than later. At least this time, we know that there are no Kalista Spears stuck into anybody in the game at this point in time. So
Too soon, Flowers!
We know one thing that it is not. We know one thing that it is not.
That's
We
true.
also know you need no player in this game can actually press the Kalista E right now. There's no.
That's true.
Not touching that.
That is very true. For those of you who don't know, it is currently 8 p.m. here in Berlin.
This is late. This is late night League of Legends.
Yeah, a little bit of League of Legends after dark.
There you go. Well, it's probably a pretty good time, though, in NA to be watching this right now.
Oh, yes.
'Cause it would be 11 a.m. right now
Yeah,
in LA.
11 a.m.
There you go. Perfect.
Not even an early wake up. You could sleep in, still wake up in time to...
Rested, refreshed, watch a little weekend LCS.
Look at that crowd. They are still energized. They got it. Let's go.
All right, I see people getting ready, and we will see if we're going to get this one going here in a second.
Okay.
Also really interesting to talk about the journey that Busio has had, because I think, when you look back towards spring and you look to some of these big moments that, FlyQuest was in, when you think back to the spring finals, when you think back to MSI, I do think Busio really struggled with his nerves with being able to perform at that high level. And when you look to summer finals, when you look to Worlds so far, he has been able to really, I think, play a lot more true to what his game is. And it's been fun to see some of these young NA players really stepping up and delivering on the international stage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. It's time for the final best of 3 in the World's 2024 Swiss stage. A rematch of the North American Finals for the LCS just a month ago. FlyQuest and Team Liquid. Somebody's getting on a plane back to LA tomorrow, and somebody's getting on a plane to Paris for the quarterfinals as FlyQuest steps into the jungle of Team Liquid.
Yeah, they have the sweeper, so they take over Tribrush, but no further invade here. Again, looking for the extra vision here, looking at the lane swap that we were talking about in Champion Select, and FlyQuest will go for the recall for Masu and Busio heading on up there now.
And it's just so smart when you have these kind of matchups, when you have a Cassante versus a Jax. The Jax is really going to struggle. Impact tried to go forward a little bit to try to get some sort of vision, but couldn't actually spot anything over by the blue buff, spotted nothing on top side either.
All right, you can see in the top there your global power rankings powered by AWS. FlyQuest ranked at number 13, Team Liquid ranked at number 14. Very slight differences between them.
You can also note when you're actually looking at the minimap here, how they're playing. They're waiting all the way back by the tier 2. This is because there are sometimes wards in this middle area over there. If Impact had gone in, he could ward over the wall. So they were really trying to hide this lane swap. So even if there was vision in that spot, there wouldn't be time for TL to change their lane assignments. So Impact is going to get that bad news as soon as they do pop out of this side lane brush, and we'll see how TL want to respond, because I think it's going to be so difficult for them to actually punish this Cassante in their 2v1.
Both of these teams have been very good with their lane swaps as well.
Can't get the XP.
Yep, he's just completely zoned away, man. The double range is so oppressive in these situations. Ash and Lulu will make this miserable for Impact to try to deal with as Jan and CoreJJ try to force Bwipo back as well.
Yeah, Bwipo getting 1 extra minion's worth of experience so far here on the Cassante moving up. He, of course, only has to deal with one of the range, but Tom Kench's tongue can be annoying as well.
It counts for something. All right, Impact still stuck underneath the turret. It's going to be a rough time down there as we can take a look at where our junglers are starting, both starting at their own blue buffs, so they'll be marching towards opposite ends of the map. Syndra versus Orianna, one of those all-time classic matchups here at Worlds.
Umpty is crossing, though, into enemy territory. You know, when you're lane swap, this is your weak side of the map, so Umpty is getting a little bit aggressive here. Is going to be able to rotate over. Try and defend this. Try and defend this.
Yeah, Umpty's going to have to make his way over here because Inspired has also moved up. Umpty going to have to secure that first big Krug, trying to take as many of the baby ones away now as he can as Inspired contest them. Sneaks away a couple. The wave crashing into the turret of Impact now in the top lane.
So both top laners do get to stay around for the waves here. Bwipo taking a little bit of extra damage, though.
But even just the fact that Umpty got up there actually did dissuade them for looking for any sort of a dive. So this is very good, and Bwipo has no W.
Oh, Bwipo already flashed back underneath the turret there to make sure he gets to safety as Core and Jan are putting the pressure on the FlyQuest top laner. Had to use the flash there, traded for the ignite of CoreJJ. Bwipo down to 150 HP.
The poke continues, and Bwipo's still sticking around down here, trying to charge up his Qs. He uses the charged one, though.
He's so low. Bwipo below 100 HP. Jan with a nice deadly flourish as Bwipo tries to put some damage back into CoreJJ, but he takes a lick and he gets first blood.
And it's the killer catfish, CoreJJ. Famous Tom Kench gets the first blood, and now we're going to get to see his first recall and look to roam the map.
And that was really well done there by the TL bot lane, just constantly juggling this back and forth, chunking down Bwipo slower and slower and slower. And because there was nothing that really happened to Impact on the top side, the Jax is not behind whatsoever from this swap.
And that's what we were talking about at the very start, right? That's what you said, is it's going to be tough for Impact and it's hard to punish Cassante in the bottom lane at the same time. But Jan and Core do a great job doing it.
And I mean, look at the farm even. You know, we can see that MT covered. He's up in farm. He's feeling he's in a great spot. And now Jax has TP and flash advantage as well, so he can push out this wave. He can still reset, and he's going to be in an incredible spot.
All right, here we go. Looking at the bottom side reset. Big wave built up. We're going to push out away from Masu and Busio. Jan, of course, should be able to collect it no problem, though, and both junglers on the top side of the map.
And you can tell APA is in his comfort zone because he is typing once again.
Oh,
I've
are
not
we
seen him
yapping?
type a single time all of Worlds, and he's hitting the all chat. You nervous, Quad? Only 22 CS.
I mean, he does have a point there, 40-30 right now in the mid lane in that evergreen Orianna versus Syndra matchup that I just touched on a little bit earlier. APA with control over the lane, crashing these minions into the turret, trying to put the pressure on Quad here nice and early. Probably not any real big potential for kills until the junglers try to get involved, though, and currently they're just clearing through their camps. Nice scout of the week.
Yeah, I mean, often these matchups just becomes ultimates for pressure, ultimates for lane prio, chunk them out, try to make them take bad bases and get those CS advantages. So we'll see if APA can do that. Quad, obviously, I think there was not really high expectations when he got picked up by the team when he replaced Jensen. Coming into summer, a lot of people were pretty disappointed with the change, but he has really grown into such an incredible carry for FlyQuest, and his development through summer was amazing.
Core JJ.
Knock up from Core JJ with the Abyssal Dive. Busio's in some trouble. The stun from the Tongue Lash. Barely missing out on the kill here for the Team Liquid bot lane duo. Busio at death's door needs to go ahead and get back.
Honestly, because the junglers have also reset, though, I don't think it's going to be the huge issue that kind of looks like at face value. Jan and Core JJ pushing the wave in here. Masu should be fine to collect, and Busio does get back to base. No summoner spells might be a point for pressure here for Umti, though. We have still not seen the Xin Zhao pull off a gank, but up by Grubs here, and he already has complete vision control of the river.
It was very conservative, though, from TL. They were clearly nervous that Inspired could be there, because I feel like Jan could have flashed in 100% and actually gotten that kill, but decided not to go for it. Didn't want to risk giving anything up, so instead they played for the Scrubs. And Busio now is going to have no summoners here at this Scrubs fight if TL look for the turn.
They might do that. Core JJ trying to keep track of them as they rotate over. Looks like they also got the full reset here from Bwipo. So Bwipo level 6 Cassante is coming back full health. Meanwhile, Impact just recalling now is going to have to channel teleport.
APA already used his ulti there to chunk Quad down. Quad still has the shockwave, but all three Grubs already secured by Umti and Team Liquid.
And Busio just can't face check in there. Umti's Inspired's trying to lead the way there on the Skarner, but they cannot risk it with having no summoner spells on the vulnerable Lulu. So now they're wrapping around mid lane. Skarner looking.
Yeah, APA is really playing towards the bot side, which is kind of his safe side right now. Knows that's where the Skarner would be.
Okay, Quad doesn't get the ball far enough to try to go for a shockwave. Polymorph onto APA, who flashes over the wall to try to escape, but Quad with the flash into the shockwave. Easy pick up there for FlyQuest, but now Masu could be under some pressure in the bottom lane. Uses the barrier as the curtain call opens up. Jan hits the first two. Number 3 collides. Number 4, Masu has to flash out of the way to survive. Jan is shooting straight.
The bottom lane completely blasting here. TL able to shove them off, but without getting that kill, I think it still is good. Well, no summoner spells here on Busio.
Busio's going to try to get away. He does have Inspired nearby to try to help him, so Jan and Core really can't get a whole lot more here except for just a little bit of plate money.
That patience for FlyQuest around mid lane, though, really paid off. Even as you say, APA hovering the bottom side of the map where his team just left. Still, the tenacity here of FlyQuest. Busio sticking around on the Lulu and getting that Glitter Lance slow.
Exactly. It was actually really key, that third man there, to get in behind him, slow him down. Even with the flash, he still goes down. We'll have to see if TL can punish that missing summer, though, as it's going to be a bit of a scrap up on the top side. Impact looking good, but it's been very even thus far.
And I do want to keep an eye on the grievance that you always have with Impact on the Jax Azael. How well does he manage pressuring the side lanes and combining that with grouping in a way that doesn't set him too far behind as the game goes on?
Exactly. When you play this style of champion like Jax, you have to be greedy, you have to be willing to play for yourself, and he's such a selfless player that he often does not do that, and sometimes it is to his own detriment. When you're playing Cassante or you're playing, any sort of tanker supportive style, it's okay to give up CS if you put your team ahead. Sometimes Jax is not.
Ooh, there's your immediate lockdown combo in the bottom lane as Masu's thrown up into the air after the deadly flourish roots him. Soon as the jungler's there, it's guaranteed, man. Jan getting the money on that one, 1-0-1 here in the gym.
Another setup, and this time it's not just a kill. That one's going to be the dragon rotation immediately. Busio just left around now. He's the one going to get poked under tower.
Yeah, this combo of the Jhin and the Tahm Kench, another deadly flourish into Abyssal Dive. CoreJJ, the thick skin is not thick enough, and Team Liquid overplays their hand. Yawn even having a flash away. They still don't kill Busio. He barely holds on, sidesteps the deadly flourish at the very end. Team Liquid too far on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid, their bot lane 2v2 have been dominating, but they definitely went way too far on that one. At the very least, it's just a kill given over to the Lulu, so not the end of the world, but the loss of summoners, I think, is really what does hurt Yawn, because he could be a big target now on this Jhin.
See if they do anything mid lane here. CoreJJ just came out of base on the Tahm Kench. Oftentimes, after you die like that, going for a tower dive that you see now on screen, it can sometimes be the surprise return play after you die. He's looking mid for the no flash Orianna currently on live, but man, yeah, this one, Yawn even having to flash there, that is a ton of the extra pressure from Team Liquid. They were cheering the first kill, not the second return part of the dive there.
I mean, at the same time, Busio also lived with, what was it, like 10 HP on that last
very
auto?
low.
It was incredibly low. So had Yawn got that, you would be pretty happy. And that is one of those plays that is incredibly close. Core now also is 6, so the ability to deny a lot of these plays has been unlocked for the Tahm Kench.
All right, let's check back in mid lane here, where Quad has made up for that CS deficit that APA put him in earlier, as he now continues forcing the Team Liquid mid laner back. Inspired, clearing out some Team Liquid vision on the top side of the river here. He wants to be in this location because the next set of grubs is spawning in just a couple of seconds. Team Liquid got the first 3. FlyQuest would love to shut down that second trio going over to TL, but Umpty's also around the area. Meanwhile, Bwipo getting very aggressive with impact underneath the turret of the Jax, as CoreJJ is once again going to be going aggressive. He wants to try to spit him out, go back over the wall with the blast cone. Beautifully done from CoreJJ, but Busio's still got the flash. He's got the heal. He runs the hell back away.
That's about as close to a Tahm Kench insect as you're going to get, man. Eats him up, uses the blast cone, forces the flash.
Team Rocket over here blasting off again into the Dragon Pit, and it gets him an extra flash, but Umpty, meanwhile, the more meaningful kind of play here, honestly, because
which was cooler?
The blast cone play was definitely cooler, but the 6 grubs might be more meaningful as APA under attack again.
Yeah, APA could be in some serious trouble here. Inspired flashes forward, but he misses the upheaval. APA is still going to drop as Quad can chase him down. 2-0 on the Orianna for the FlyQuest mid lane.
Yeah, a lot of pressure here being put on by FlyQuest, as Impact may be in trouble. Will be able to back off with Counter-Strike very likely.
Yep.
But Inspired has really kind of changed his play style and is more willing to play these supportive styles. MT going to be looking top lane.
Now, Bwipo might be winning the 1v1 there, but it's not going to be a 1v1 for long. Problem is, they're getting pretty close to the turret of a Cassante. Bwipo tries to get away, but wind becomes lightning and find its way to Bwipo's heart. Now Inspired thinking about holding these guys in place long enough for Quad to arrive and maybe find a kill and trade, but Team Liquid knows better of it. Impact and Umpty both in complete retreat back underneath the turret. They'll escape.
And I want to see what's going on bottom side too, because again, the relentless pressure here has almost resulted in a whole turret taken by the TL duo. They do get it here, only 12.5 minutes into the game. That's a 1.6k gold lead just on Yawn.
Immediate value from those 6 grubs that were secured by Team Liquid and Umpty, putting those to work in the bottom lane. All 5 plates. There's still 1 minute and 15 seconds left before the plates would even fall. Team Liquid enjoying a 2,000 gold lead, 1.7 thousand of which is on Yawn. And Isaac, you already talked about it earlier. The 80 carries have been the stars of the show for both of these teams. Having your guy out to a nearly 2,000 lead, huge.
Yeah, and I mean, so far they have been really on point. Obviously, they did have that one failed dive on Busio, but the follow-up CC, the initial plays that they've been looking, they've been utilizing Tahm Kench in such an aggressive manner, and it's awesome to see. You hit the tongue lash, you followed up with the knock-up, the root is there from the Jhin, the layering of the CC is what's going to allow them to find a lot of these picks. And Yawn has that early static shiv, likely is going to be going the Mosquito build here with the extra dagger, but it can be quite powerful with the double kind of electrocute items from ahead.
I think Jackie Love inspired a lot of people at the beginning of this tournament with some good static shiv usage. Should just be a routine Raptor pickup here though, as CoreJJ does get out of the river.
Well, if we're talking about routines, the normal routine of a game of League of Legends is 14 minutes in, it's time to fight over the Rift Herald. We've got a little bit of time left before that spawns, about 10 seconds, and Team Liquid is establishing control over the topside river.
And I think that FlyQuest have already made the call. We're going to sacrifice this. Yes, if Team Liquid go for there, then we'll try and make our cross-map play. This is the standard. We'll make a play on the other side of the map. You see Inspired is hovering in the brush on the bomb side in your mini-map. Doesn't look like Impact is actually going to give them that play, while TL make their top side first.
All right, Yawn pushing the wave into the turret. Core JJ to back him up as Umpty and APA maintain control over the topside river. Quad trying to slowly push forward, test the waters here a little bit, but they are very, very dangerous. You can see your lane economy snapshot right there. Thank you, MasterCard. It's only Quad with a gold lead on the FlyQuest side.
You hear that fan cheer for the MasterCard? Pop up on it. We got a big MasterCard fan. Yeah! Whoa! All right, well, Umpty gonna get paid as well, it looks like here. Rift Herald taking a beating, and TL has so much vision. Look at this, blanketing the blue quadrant of the jungle here, leading up to it.
And I mean, while TL, I think, are in a very good spot, there's so much scaling over on the FlyQuest side. I do think Jhin is really going to struggle to actually punch through the front line. There's not a massive amount of tank killing pressure here on Team Liquid's comp. So as long as FlyQuest aren't just completely bleeding out, just keep focusing on their farm, getting their levels, this is the kind of style that they like to play. They like to play to scale. They are very adept at these 5v5s. And I think FlyQuest is still in a pretty comfortable spot as long as the gold lead does not continue to extend.
I mean, FlyQuest was down pretty far in all their games against HLE and managed to find some really good looks in the mid game. So we'll see if they can do it against TL2.
I want to take the opportunity before the big fight breaks out. Well, wait a second, let's see how Quad.
You might not get the chance. Okay.
Just a little bit of friendly banter there in mid lane.
Yeah, all for all.
That was a small fight, not the big fight.
Exactly, the small fight there. Inspired actually gave a really interesting interview with Travis Gafford, I believe, where he talked about specifically playing team fights versus Team Liquid. And Inspired, as always, gives a lot of detail. And one of the main things that he said is that FlyQuest have become very comfortable with trying to bait out quote-unquote hasty plays from opponents, where they kind of dangle someone with a little bit of safety to try and draw over commitment. And he said that they actually target APA specifically a lot with this, as he is one of the mid laners that tries to make very big plays very frequently. So we'll take a look at that as this series does progress, and if that is a useful style for FlyQuest, because the team comp that they have set up does seem like that would be a strong style to go for. I mean, the Cassante and the Skarner are pretty tanky, so I don't know how much you're going to bait with those. Might have to be somebody else looking a little bit more juicy.
I mean, sometimes even the tanks, right, can look like, oh, this guy's going too far. Surely this is illegal. We got to be able to finish him here, right? We saw that even from Whippo at Worlds on the Renekton. He loves playing around the Sterix Power Spike, going in really far, trying to soak all of this damage, force your opponents to overcommit onto you, and then all of a sudden you realize, well, no one's touching Masu, no one's touching Quad, we're losing the fight.
You could bait in a Tahm Kench maybe, maybe a Xin Zhao maybe. We shall see. Next thing on the docket, though, of course, is a ways out, because we have a long time until the next dragon does spawn. So this is going to be tending to these side lanes. And of course, it is a bit more difficult for FlyQuest to tend to their side lanes, since they did build their whole team comp really for these 5-on-5s. They don't have great side laning potential, and the Trinity Force was just completed in the hands of Impact, plus the ability of the Rift Trail to just deal so much damage to this mid tower.
All right, FlyQuest on the defense as the Herald is about to charge. It will not destroy the turret with only that charge.
And I think so much of this game could potentially come down to this next dragon fight here, because it is such a powerful spawn here for TL with the Infernal Soul. I think that is going to make FlyQuest pretty nervous to give over that third straight one. And then the question becomes, yeah, you have great scaling, but are you ready to fight now? You have 3 more minutes to get as much as you can, as far as gold, as far as completed items. But TL is going to be ahead in the itemization. It's still nearly a 2,000 gold lead here for Yon. He's going to have his rapid fire before that dragon fight, very likely. And then FlyQuest are really going to have to make that difficult decision. Do you flip the game right there and fight, or do you try to wait till the 4th dragon and fight, and then one mistake, one catch means they get soul?
Nice sidestep on the scatter there from Whippo, who's just laning against Sendre here on the side, happy to just keep working towards more and more gold, waiting for that next big fight that we're talking about. 2.5 minutes till Drake number 3. Team Liquid doing a great job controlling neutral objectives so far in this game. 100% of neutral objectives under their control. Both Drakes, all 6 grubs. Whippo with the flash away from the unleashed power. He knew that that wasn't going to kill him, but Umpty surely would have been able to set up a sincere threat, so Whippo having to spend the summoner.
And one small thing I always feel like is really nice, if you are playing Syndra against a melee champion in the sideline like this, you can just farm splinters very, very easily. It's so easy to be hitting Cassante and getting towards that eventual 120 splinters that you're trying to get. Impact in this bot lane, though, is getting so much damage down to this tower. This might just be dead. I think you can kind of just kill him Whipple's face at this point.
Dude, Trinity Force Jax just demolishes structures. It's so easy for Impact to farm money off of that, and Team Liquid is now enjoying what is almost a 4,000 gold lead.
This is TL's comfort zone, you know, especially versus a comfortable opponent that they know so well. TL trying to flex their side laning, trying to flex their macro. Secondary towers are 800 gold for your team. So big there for Impact to be able to pull up. But take a look at the junglers too. Both are hovering down towards the bottom side where the side laners are. Doesn't look like there's going to be any aggressive play, just kind of defensive hovering.
Also got chunked
for now.
There. APA on the Syndra doing some good work. But meanwhile, bottom side, 2v2. Whippo starting it off with the all-out on Impact, taking him through the wall here in the alcove, but a TP ready to reinforce for FlyQuest. Impact on the retreat. Third and Tofo strike threatened the knockback, so Impact has to flash away, but now Umpty getting caught by the shockwave. Nicely done here from FlyQuest to catch the Team Liquid jungler. We'll see if they want to go any further forward. Doesn't look like it, but FlyQuest 1-0 in that scrap.
That's actually a pretty critical kill because Umpty will be up for the dragon, but he's going to be spawning in base a couple seconds before it does get up. So it could mean that FlyQuest have first move on the river. Maybe they can get some control in that area. All the bases are coming out now, though. And Yon really is big man on campus. He's got 2 items. He's already working towards that third. That is going to be the biggest problem that FlyQuest will have to solve for.
To the side of FlyQuest, though, and the credit to FlyQuest there, Whippo with a really nice setup. Impact had flash advantage in this, and he was still able to create the play himself by the pullback there with Cassante and calling Inspired over. So FlyQuest, even while down, finding themselves an extra kill.
And FlyQuest on that reset couldn't really get any vision in towards the river. Also pretty interesting, Tom Kench has gone for Heartsteel. So CoreJJ going more of a pure farm style Tom Kench build. He did get that early first blood. He got a lot of plate gold as well. So I feel like he just thought he's accelerated enough that he can become more of a true tank instead of going that supportive style that you almost always see from Tom Kench.
Well, FlyQuest is going to grab themselves some more objective money up here in the top lane. It'll be their first turret claimed this game. TL already with 3 in their position, but FlyQuest finally getting on the board in that regard. Meanwhile, Umpty will secure Soul Point here for the side of Team Liquid. So the clock is starting to approach midnight here for FlyQuest. They are going to have to answer these from now on or surrender that ever so important Infernal Soul. One thing that is going FlyQuest's way, 3 out of 4 of the kills, really all of the kills except for the one where Team Liquid overextended trying to dive Busio, have all been on quad. This is the lone player on FlyQuest who does have a gold advantage. He's on that 2-item power spike, fully evolved Seraph's Embrace. He's very powerful right now, and if he can find a big shockwave in an upcoming fight, could seriously be a game changer.
And domestically, Quad was a monster in the LCS, as he said, becoming a real point of power for FlyQuest that all of his teammates talked about wanting to play around. So him being able to step up here would be huge on the international stage.
Yeah, it's been so interesting as well, hearing about Quad. And one of the things that FlyQuest complained about is he wasn't greedy enough. He wasn't asking for enough resources. They're saying, you are so good, you will carry the game. We have the faith in you. You need to tell us what you need to carry the game. You need to take that wave if you need it. You need to call for jungle help if you need coverage on this. And that's something that FlyQuest have really been focusing on throughout the summer split and coming into Worlds is Quad setting up Quad for success.
And it's actually funny because the 2 players that gave that interview you're talking about, Inspired and Busio, they went mid this game. Yeah. Multiple times to gank APA, whether Quad called for it or not. They went and they helped out.
We're going to help you whether you like it or not, and CoreJJ is going to help Yon out of that one, and that's exactly what we were talking about back in draft. If the FlyQuest composition can only start a fight with an Ash Arrow, just pick Tom Kench, save the guy who gets hit, immediate disengage, and it's so hard for FlyQuest to really find that go button.
Absolutely, and that's where, AoE damage becomes really important. Consistent pressure becomes really, really important. And when you're looking towards the later stages of the game, Orianna Shockwave is very threatening, but also a sped-up Ashe that has all this space being created by a Cassante, by a Skarner, and this Lulu backing you up is going to be really threatening.
Well, Inspired jumps in, going after Umpty, who immediately responds, jumping on Busio, who's down to half HP, but a redemption going to be summoned up by FlyQuest here as Impact tries to chase after him with a counter-strike, but he won't find the stun on anybody important. Impact is about to die first, but he gets away with a leap strike back to a teammate. APA killed first. FlyQuest with a 1-0 here so far in the fight, but Whipple's in the front line, but he's all alone. He knocks Umpty back. A little bit more damage. Might just kill the Team Liquid jungler, but FlyQuest don't have the range. This fight could have gone way harder, but it ends in a 1-0 for FlyQuest.
TL were just so split, and APA ended up flashing into the Baron pit to try and get away from danger, but then section off from the rest of the team, so FlyQuest are able to collect that kill, and
we're not done yet. Nice knockback again from Whippo onto Core JJ. Wants to keep going forward, but he's got to be a little bit careful here. Impact with a counter-strike. Goes in and finds the kill on Busio. Escapes with his own flash back up into the brush, but a two-man shockwave coming out from Quad. Impact is popped before we can do anything else. Umpty's here on the front line, and surely he won't survive. The arrows just riddle him like a pincushion. Yon won't land the deadly flourish, and FlyQuest continues the chase. Quad goes on a rampage, and Core JJ goes down. Only 2 men left standing in TL colors.
Yeah, FlyQuest coming out on top in that fight, and even though Yon was alive for the whole thing, he just can't really get through the front line. He's hitting like nothing on this Cassante, and Bubba was creating so much space, so much area for his carries to really work with.
let's take a look too, because this was extra person joining at every interval of 1 minute. Let's take a look. Yon hit the root to start out. Whippo still got the pullback there onto Core JJ. And then even though they're so low, Impact jumps in, wants to get the kill onto Busio, can't quite finish because of the shield, has to go back for the extra auto, flashing out, and then the shockwave ensures that this continues. The second engage from Impact ends up blowing up because Masu is able to auto him down, and then you finally get the Skarner arriving while the teleport arrives. Even though you get the miss on that Skarner ultimate, you know, you still have Quad over the top, and so in the end, you know, it's such a long and drawn out fight, but FlyQuest are able to again chop down on some of this Team Liquid gold lead that they built up so big in the beginning of this game.
And I want to talk a little bit about that gold lead in regards to something you said earlier, Isaac, talking about the scaling of FlyQuest, talking about how it'll be so hard for this Jhin to punch through that front line. It's exactly what we just saw. Now we got some more problems for TL. An arrow from downtown finds its way onto Impact. He'll try to fight his way out, but it ain't gonna happen. Top laner down. FlyQuest 9-4 in kills.
Yeah, what a shot by Masu, and now Impact's not gonna be up and with no TP for this next dragon, so that could mean no soul for TL here, and that could be the game falling out of their grasp. Soul was so important to put their damage over the edge and be able to deal with these frontliners.
All right, FlyQuest ready here. They've got 15 seconds, 10 seconds now until that Drake spawns. They want to be able to get this wave shoved up, have control over the mid lane. Whippo jumps in looking for a third in Tofo strike, but does not land it. Busio joining up with the rest of the team now as Inspired will be the first man into the bot side river. Control over this Drake pit will be big. Impact not alive for another 5 seconds. His TP cooldown is also not yet ready. It's just barely not there. So Team Liquid want to buy enough time for Impact to be able to join. He has respawn now. He'll make his way back out onto the map. FlyQuest still in control. Nice knockback coming out from Whippo when APA's in trouble. All out from Whippo to make sure that Core JJ's not able to save him. Now the Tahm Kench has to dive back to safety. And right when Impact might have been able to rejoin, now it's APA who's dead. 40 seconds. This dragon is none of TL's business.
FlyQuest just straight up walk right at APA. They take the kill. They're going to take the dragon, and Team Liquid, they can't do much. There's no rush of Baron threat here. They've got a Jhin for DPS, so all they can do is clear a ward.
And I love how Whippo just immediately decides all out into no terrain just to get that little extra buffer to guarantee that Core JJ cannot save his mid laner on this Tahm Kench as FlyQuest acquire the mid lane turret.
I feel like FlyQuest are fully in the driver's seat now. Soul point or not for Team Liquid, it doesn't matter if you can't win a fight. You have to be so far ahead with this kind of a composition to deal with the frontliners over on FlyQuest, and they just aren't. Yon is not hurting those frontliners. Maybe once he gets an IE or something like that, maybe if they had Infernal Soul, but these back-to-back picks on the TL Soul laners have really kind of put them in a very precarious position.
You know, for all that yapping early on in the game, APA is sitting at 0-4-0 right
Actions
now
speak louder than
on
words.
the Syndra compared to the 5-0-4 on Quad's Orianna. Mid lane has gone FlyQuest's way in game one.
Very clearly, FlyQuest put a target on APA's back from the very beginning of this game. So many visits towards mid lane, and then in a couple of consecutive team fights as well. Again, they know their opponents well.
I mean, all the games that these guys have played against each other, again, if y'all missed it at the start of the series, it's been 23 total games, 7 total series between these teams since the start of 2024. Team Liquid currently +1 in both those counts, 4-3 in series, 12-11 in games, but it is FlyQuest who have the LCS title in their current possession. It is FlyQuest who are now controlling this game. FlyQuest looking for the angle, the arrow misses, Whippo approaches from the side, but without that lockdown to at least force the Tahm Kench ulti, they can't keep going forward.
That was such a great sidestep there from Yon. It's buying time for them to play through these side lanes. Syndra is bot, Jax is top. FlyQuest are trying to force here, so if they can't find anyone, this is TL winning out. Look at APA. He's going straight for the base here, so FlyQuest have got to make a call. You either need to get back and defend, or you need to commit to an engage.
It's a full send from APA, but now thinking better of it as FlyQuest back away. It looks like the Team Liquid mid laner will find himself taking a recall, going back to base, resetting a little bit here. The gold within 1,000 as the clock is about to strike 30. 3 minutes left until the Drake spawns again. FlyQuest will once again have to be ready. They do have more vision over the topside river right now as well. Looks like our next Scuttle Crab will be spawning topside river too, as teams will need to maintain control over this area to guarantee the other side's not just going to run away with a Baron. FlyQuest back out into mid lane.
I think FlyQuest are going to make a move before the dragon spawns. They've got Ash Arrow coming up very shortly here for Maso, only 8 seconds away on that one. Keep on fishing for these picks. They've gotten so much out of them, and already retaking full vision control over the Baron, try and clean this out and force Team Liquid into a dangerous position.
Impact's not in much of a position. He's just eating some fruits right now. He's having a good time during a little bit of the calm before the storm that will surely erupt here in a little bit more than 2 minutes from now, as APA will now be the top lane farmer for Team Liquid.
I think the target for FlyQuest should be burning a flash on APA or Yon now before the dragon spawns. 2 minutes ahead of time is perfect time to throw out an Ash Arrow, threaten a pick on one of these carries, so then you have a huge advantage for the actual dragon fight.
FlyQuest will make sure they can at least steal away the red buff from the Team Liquid side, give them just a little bit of extra control as Inspired and Masu head back into the mid lane. Quad accompanying Busio as he sits down some vision, continuing to try to control the topside river.
Yeah, I'm just really curious when FlyQuest are going to move their vision down towards bot side, because almost all of their wards thus far had been up around this top side of the map. You can see it's mostly TL vision in this area, and so just now FlyQuest starting to move down, looking to try to take over control of that area, because that really is going to be what TL are looking for the whole time.
All right, the arrow, they went for the Tahm Kench, but it missed. D and Core JJ still here on the front line for Team Liquid, knocking Inspired up into the air with a 3 Talon strike, but Inspired going for the pull only onto Core JJ. Umpty with a pressure onto Busio, has to try to flash away. Impact wanted to grab the counter strike, but it ain't gonna work. Umpty now the focus of FlyQuest damage. Impact in stasis, trying to hang on. Core JJ saving him there with the Devour. They try to get everybody away to safety, but Umpty is locked behind enemy lines, and Quad is dominating. FlyQuest kill the Team Liquid jungler. They're making their way over to the Baron pit. They gotta make sure that nobody gets sniped here by Jan's curtain call, and it's not that hard to do. FlyQuest now making Team Liquid be the ones to answer as they head into the Baron pit.
Yeah, I mean, Impact got into the backline, forced out the summoners, but they had no answer for Masu, who gets buffed up by the Lulu, shreds the frontliners, and TL forced to retreat, lose the Baron here. FlyQuest now, will they have the health bars to get back to Dragon? That's the question.
Very easy. I think the timing for that fight was perfect for FlyQuest, because Baron-empowered recalls allow you to instantly reset. Still 20 seconds on that Dragon. They can move out. And with all the gold that they just got, their team fight is insane with their strong front line. Here's a look at how they actually started out. Inspired runs straight at the vulnerable front line here. Xin Zhao doesn't have a lot of escapes, and he goes for Core JJ, the Tahm Kench, the kind of safety net.
And then look at this, Umpty gets in the backline, flashes in, there's the follow-up from Impact, but as soon as Masu flashes away, he has Barrier, he has Lulu Shield, he has Lulu Ult. Masu cannot be touched. The Orianna as well is free-firing. TL just don't have the consistent damage to punch through the frontliners. If they don't win on that first punch at the start of the fight, they got nothing.
Yeah, Quad is just so fed, so rich here. The Orianna is just buffing everyone up, and he's even chasing side lanes here, leading for his team.
He wants to go after the Impact Jax. Hit, okay, the Shockwave wasn't exactly like, I can't even hype that one up. I'm sorry, boys. CoreJJ, about 40% HP here back in the mid lane, though, as Bwipo was chasing after Quad.
Yeah, it's a good leap strike to the blast cone there from Impact. I think Quad thought he didn't have another ward, so he leap strike to the ward. Maybe didn't realize that the blast cone was spawned up in that cove back there. He's able to leap strike to safety. Impact at the very least does survive, but FlyQuest fully in control still, buying themselves another 5 minutes before they even have to worry about Soul, getting further and further ahead. Yeah, it was a massive gold lead early for Yon, but he has the IE now. I just don't think that it really even matters.
Yeah, I think Team Liquid are just really worried about the constant Ash arrows and picking people off now, because APA has no flash for this next one. Umpty has no flash. Zen is notoriously vulnerable when you're trying to get vision as a jungler. You're trying to work with your support, with CoreJJ there, but Zen has no escapes. And so a couple of very vulnerable players on Team Liquid. They're still trying to play the side lanes. APA there does push out on bottom side to gain a little bit of space, but it becomes very difficult here.
I mean, especially when you're actually looking at the Jax, you're hoping that Jax is going to be able to create this advantage in the side lane. Look at the items. He's a full item behind, and he has fallen down 40 CS to the Cassante. You know, this is a situation where you're never going to be able to pressure this guy. You're never going to be able to hurt this guy.
Well, normally a lot of people look at kills in League of Legends to tell a story, but I feel like right now everything else does. Because remember, early on in the game, Team Liquid had a 3-0 turret advantage. Now it's 4-4. Team Liquid had a 3-0 dragon advantage. Now it's 3-2. Team Liquid has just lost everything that they were building in that early game, and FlyQuest has done a great job responding to it with mid-lane or mid-game outplays, as Yon is again forced to flash now. The Jhin vulnerable, the Tahm Kench dead, the Orianna godlike, and FlyQuest just keeps striking gold. Now that gold is about to flow straight into their pockets as the bottom lane tier 2 turret collapses, and again, it's Umpty under pressure as FlyQuest are not done yet. Quad does so much damage, and Umpty learned the hard way. You gotta respect it. FlyQuest gonna knock down another tier 2, this time over in the mid lane. Impact is trying to make a play here with a teleport, but the problem is there's no pincer attack to be found. You are a 3v5 for Team Liquid for the next 10 seconds, and even then, it's still down a man for him. Impact's gonna be interrupted as he tries to recall an award. FlyQuest have already taken the mid lane inhibitor, and now they're gonna demolish the tier 3 turret in the bottom lane, making it a 2-inhib game.
I mean, you can try to threaten the flank, but it's not a rock in a hard place. It's a rock in a wet paper bag that can just punch through the other side and run over TL.
Yeah, Team Liquid are not caught between a rock and anything, because TL are the rock. There's 5 of them there, and Impact teleporting in behind them, but 2 teammates for Team Liquid already gone. So FlyQuest, they just have seemed so calm in this game, even in the early stages where TL were pushing them around the map and generating an objective and gold lead, because it just felt like they were so confident in their ability to pick TL members when it came to the team fights, when it came to the skirmishes, and FlyQuest have just repeated that play. Now it's up to Team Liquid to get creative with it, because 2 inhibitors down, super minions mean you have guaranteed pressure for FlyQuest in 2 lanes. It's almost like Team Liquid's only real tool and real strength in this whole game has been taken away, and so it's got to be some magic now.
I mean, hey man, just a few days ago, FlyQuest was down, what, 5,000 gold against HLE, and they managed to fight back. You go down a few thousand gold against Team Liquid, you're feeling fine now. You're like, you've been through it. You know. Yeah, exactly. FlyQuest has done their training. They are ready to go. They know how to play these types of situations with an arrow coming in from the top side. Umpty gets hit from all the way away, and he has to try to flash to survive, but he's still almost dead. You got Bwipo going in, all out. Umpty in some danger, still barely surviving as Yon's about to drop here next. If the Jhin dies, surely the fight is already over, and I think it won't even matter. CoreJJ will drop second. They're about to make it even more. Impact's out of the picture. Quad's legendary. Yon, this fed Jhin from the early game, can't do anything. As Inspired comes around with the Ishtal impact, the polymorph on APA, so we can't even get a trade back on the FlyQuest support. Quad 10, 0, and 6. Another deathless player in Inspired at 0, 0, and 11. FlyQuest, the early game might have been a struggle, but man, they are running them over here. 2 lanes, pushing at the same time. Super minions flooding into the base. Yon, the only one standing to try to stop it as FlyQuest go in for what should be the final kill of the game. They knock the Infernal Cinders out of them. They knock the Nexus turret down, and FlyQuest take game 1.